ارجعي إلى ربك راضية مرضية فادخلي في عبادي وادخلي جنتي صدق الله العظيم.
Jazakallah, Mrs. Suhaib. I hope I'm audible. So let's begin the session. We are glad to have you all join us today on this first session of webinar Playing MATLAB. Just a brief introduction about myself. I'm Hira Maiman, a student of NUST PNEC and a member of IEEE, WIE, and PSC. And yeah, I've just passed my semester 2 a while back. Now, it is a matter of honor to have Mr. Ghulam Mustafa with us today as instructor. He did his bachelor's in electronic engineering and master's in industrial automation and control, while also having experience in the teaching side. I'll forward it to Sir now with hopes of you learning and growing from the knowledge he imparts. Thank you. Sir, can you?
Okay.
Thank you.
Good evening, all of the participants who are from Malaysia specifically, and the participants from Pakistan and all around the world. I hereby greet you and thanking you that you have registered for this particular workshop, that is Playing MATLAB. I hope my voice is audible. If host may confirm me that if my voice is audible, I may proceed then. Okay, so regarding this workshop, I have been conducting this workshop since very long, and the aim of this workshop is to give you somehow information regarding how we utilize the MATLAB software. So before this, people were using MATLAB software, no doubt, but the methodology that they use, or they feel somehow boredom in utilizing the MATLAB for their different tools, you know. So let me just share my screen first. Okay, so I hope my screen is shared now, right? My screen is visible? Host, kindly confirm.
Yes,
my screen is visible, right? Okay.
The screen is visible.
So, okay. So the workshop title is Playing MATLAB. Okay,
sorry, sir, not visible.
I would like to wait for some while. Maybe it will take some moment to be, you know, to appear in front of you. Now it's visible.
Okay. Not, sir. Not visible, sir.
It is visible to most people, I guess.
Maybe you can just log off and again log in to the meeting. No, maybe you can see the web this particular screen again. No?
Okay.
Okay. So just starting from my slides, it's Playing MATLAB. It's a 2-day workshop which will consider as a hands-on practice. So for this, you must have somehow what we say, the software availability at your desktops, or if you are using your laptop. So this must be installed already in your laptops. Other than that, I'll also guide you about the links that how you utilize it. In most of the countries, what universities follow, they used to provide the academic license for MATLAB software, and people are very convenient in installing the MATLAB software. But yet yes, there are some countries that are using some, a cracked version. I don't go into the detail of that legitimacy or the legal problems of using MATLAB cracked version, but anyhow, we are focused with the utilization and how we use the MATLAB software. So introducing myself, I'm Ghulam Mustafa Abdo, a member of IEEE, and currently I'm basically graduate assistant at University Technology Patna. So this is the brief introduction of me. Hello everyone. I have done my bachelor's in electronic engineering from Hamdard University, Karachi, Pakistan, and after that I promoted after acquiring my degree in ME Industrial Automation and Control by research work. And now currently I'm pursuing my PhD in University Technology Patnas, and my research interests are robotics and control, and computer vision oriented applications. A very little part of my research is based on Internet of Robotic Things. So apart from that, I have acquired somehow very small grants, but they are no doubt value in activities committee and side grant for COVID-19. And regarding that, I also able to publish one paper also. And before that, I got a research grant for my completing my master's from Higher Education Commission Pakistan. And I have also traveled on HEC travel grant on UK to present one of my conference papers also. About my keynote talks and my workshops, I have done international and national about international level. I have been there in University of Essex, South and United Kingdom, and competing department of Oxford University, UK also. There was a small session with IEEE student branch. And after that, I have done more workshops and hands-on workshops on PLCs and MATLAB in various HEC recognized universities of Punjab and Sindh. I have done a MATLAB certification also from Vanderbilt University, US, currently reviewing some of the journals and conferences also. IEEE things, I have been associated with IEEE since 8 years and worked as a volunteer also, then joined under the University Student Branch as counselor in 2017. I have been part of young professionals as a treasurer at Karachi section. And when I joined UTP, University Technology Patna, over here we have slightly different culture. Over here, the postgraduate students are also participating in IEEE. So I'm general secretary over here. And apart from that, I'm also volunteering as a professional activities chair. In contents of today's workshops are that you will enjoy and you will explore some of the new things. So on day one, we will we'll be talking about how software is all about. And after that, we'll be talking some basic commands, how to plot two-dimensional things and three-dimensional things. Then we will be taking an audio input to perform correlation, because I think that many of you people are belonging to electrical and electronic engineering stream, or might be your area somehow collide or match up with the communication area. So might be possible that this will give you slightly a perk or slightly a flavor of MATLAB, that MATLAB can be utilized in this way also. After that, the most important thing is how to make functions in MATLAB. You have seen various types of codes that are available on the MATLAB website, and over there all the codes are basically oriented as a function. So this will help you to understand the function, how to make it, and how to recall it during any algorithm design. And after that, you will, when this workshop will end up, you will see that if you have been given a MATLAB code or MATLAB application, it's not necessary that you must install MATLAB software in your laptop, because if you are getting any MATLAB code, you will say your friend or your teacher or your peer that, okay, give me the exe file for MATLAB. So just you will click on MATLAB exe file and the code will run automatically. There is no any kind of need to install MATLAB software for that. How to create dialog boxes in the MATLAB, writing and reading data from Excel sheet. It's a very important thing for the people who are working on data sciences and data analytics. So might be possible that they will be handling many huge or bulky Excel sheets. So they used to recall those Excel sheets, though that those Excel sheets can be recalled if you are using Python also. But regarding the MATLAB, as we are discussing the MATLAB, so we'll be discussing that how we recall the the Excel sheets in MATLAB platform. After that, we will also see that how we generate the exe file in MATLAB. And on day 2, day 1 is somehow basic and fundamental. Many of the things will be clear on day 1. So it's very important for the people who are basically attending day 1 that they may clear all the concepts. And after that, day 2 will be somehow more oriented towards the application. So we'll be tackling how to design the graphical user interface, how to implement the equations. So regarding this, I'll be tackling pre-predator model using MATLAB. We will discuss some more models also. I have, as I already mentioned, that I got a grant on COVID-19. So I have one simulation on COVID-19. People, we researchers, we students and teachers at a distance, but still this virtual webinars and virtual thing is specifically this IEEE platform has connected us no matter where we are and what we are doing, but still we are, right? So regarding the MATLAB software, MATLAB is primarily, it's an acronym that comes from matrix laboratory. It means that whatever you are taking in MATLAB, let's suppose you write A equals to 1. So A equals to 1 will be treated as a matrix, 1 by 1 matrix, right? So everything you are taking a signal, it will be treated as 2-dimensional matrix. You are taking any picture as input, it will be again tackled as a matrix. So everything that you are taking, you must be aware of matrix operation, how you find the determinant, how you find the inverse, how you extract out the diagonals. So many of us are basically the students of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So we have studied one very popular subject, that is linear algebra and differential equation, right? So linear algebra is somehow, if you have the expertise on matrices, then you can tackle MATLAB software very easily. Regarding the matrix operation, you must go through some of the popular websites also that would be discussed in the end of this day. But okay, so this is so far the MATLAB introduction. Now, if the person, many of the students who have not installed the MATLAB software, so they can use these 2 links. One is link to use MATLAB online version. What MATLAB software? It's free. But obviously it's not a shortage of various tools. MATLAB is just like a library, right? So whenever you go in library, you search of the racks, you search of the sections where the geography section is there, where is the political science section is there. So MATLAB is just like a library. Over there you have different sections. Regarding the section, it means toolboxes. So you have different toolboxes in MATLAB. You have control engineering toolbox, you have computer vision toolbox, you have digital signal imaging toolbox, you have various toolbox that you can access in MATLAB, and you can perform the things. So regarding online version, you might have some shortage that you cannot access all the tools. But yes, if you are working in a recognized university and they are providing you the academic license, then at that moment you realize that. So regarding the second link is just like installing the MATLAB at your laptop or desktop. So these both links are provided, and I hope that this presentation has already been shared with the participants. If not, then if some people have not gone through, kindly check your emails, because on emails this particular presentation is already shared. So let's have a date, and on date we just go through that what is the importance of MATLAB. So on MATLAB, what is the main significance? You will come through this particular video where two people are discussing about MATLAB, that why we are using MATLAB. Afterwards, we'll discuss something about this webinar. I must say, and I must emphasize, and I must say again that this workshop is totally based on hands-on. I'm just fulfilling the traditional thing by discussing some of the theoretical concepts and significance. Running away from these presentation, and will be coming over the MATLAB software. So have patience till we reach at MATLAB software. So don't think for this workshop that this will be entirely based on theory and I'll be highlighting the significance. No, certainly not. I have proper breakup for that. So when we'll be moving towards the MATLAB environment, that will be quite interesting to learn. Okay, so let me just play this video, have a look. I hope let me see the volume. Okay.
Tell me, how is MATLAB used in engineering? MATLAB is a level up above the scientific calculator. MATLAB gets used for complex data analysis, graphing equations because a picture is worth 1,000 words. Or 50 lines of equations. MATLAB can be used to create engineering calculators in a website, like showing someone how much torque is needed to turn a wheel based on the size and weight of the tire. That's the engineering equivalent of a mortgage calculator on a website. You can use MATLAB for it too, but Excel can be used for that as well. MATLAB does that. I know MATLAB lets you create pretty plots pretty quickly. MATLAB can be used for array and matrix manipulation. I don't think I've used arrays for anything except figuring out forces on a fictional arrow on a piece of graph paper. Plotting the airflow over a wind to study out how the pressure can work on material matters. That's a lot of civil engineering, and maybe there is a base. The matrix manipulation is used to determine optimal solutions when you need to maximize production output and minimize cost when you've got multiple resource-constrained equations. The most common of which is measured below $6x. Add an equation where X amount of material and Y amount of material equals the finished products. Plus, the production lines can handle P volumes of material B and C can handle both so many units. How to figure that out? No, a basic understanding of converting real-world stuff to algebra equations and maximizing its value like production rate. For profit within material and labor constraints is sufficient. That's a lot of math. And that's the industrial engineering use of MATLAB. Though pretty charts from MATLAB make it easy to show off the solution to the MBAs.
So regarding this particular video, what we have witnessed that there are two people, matter for engineering. Okay. matrix MATLAB has some more power, and somehow even today I have let me just add one more thing, that my final year project of bachelor's was on MATLAB, my master's was entirely based on MATLAB, and today when I'm doing my PhD, again I'm doing my algorithm and all the design works on MATLAB. So still there are some areas that are even unexplored today, so one cannot do all the things, so you must have a desire to learn new things. So MATLAB is quite so moving further, we have day one, it's introduction to MATLAB software. We will cover these things, so let me just quickly come over this particular thing. These are the basics, so if you can see these codes, y equals to 1. So let me just turn my MATLAB, this one. So if you can just let me just open the file so that you can just see. Okay, the all codes are given to you. Will be starting from the basics. So if we just, is this visible to you, participants? Is this visible to you? Just mention on the chat that it's visible. Okay, so now if you just see, let me just increase the font so that you may understand the commands and all the things. Let me just fonts. Okay, let me start it again so that you can understand each and everything from the basics. No? So this is the MATLAB environment. If you can see, this is particular MATLAB editor. Whatever you write in this particular platform, you can erase it, you can amend it, you can change it. And beneath this, you can see this is the command window. Whatever you write over here, that cannot be altered or that cannot be changed. So it's better that if you are writing something, this is the current directory. You can change this current directory. You can just go over here, you just browse. So regarding my code files, these are in this local disk E. So I'll pick local disk E and I'll select the folder. So all the files that I have in E will be visible over here, right? This is the workspace where all the variables that I'm going to take in today's lecture, that will be just portraying or visible over here. And if you just click on this plus sign, you will have another editor in front of you. So file from here, and there are something that is related to plots. So if you are working on any data, you can generate different plots from here. Then we have apps. So there MATLAB, now when I started the MATLAB, over there were no any kind of facility to just jump over the last thing now. But now if you see the MATLAB, it has completely changed user interface, and over here you have already been provided some of the built-in things available for you. So if you are working on neural net clustering, it's available for you. If you are working on MPC, model predictive control designer, it's again available for you. So all the tools are available. What you have to do is you have to just go on the MATLAB website. You just write over there that how to use MPC designer. So they will provide you an introductory video. From that you can learn many things, and you can just evaluate your skills further on as per the problem that you are facing. Okay, so see the things, how we comment the thing. Then we have published. This is something something that we used to, make our code somehow friendly. If we are making some heading or something like that, but usually we don't use it and thing during code design or something like that. After that, you have view options. So regarding the view options, you can change the entire user interface in your particular comfort. You want this particular editor and of the windows parallel, you just click on this option. If you want to see it in another style, then it can help you out. So this is particular environment. So we are starting from editor. I have already saved the file that I have given you already. So I'll be starting one by one. If you see this code, that is y equals to ones of 4. Okay, before going to this command, let me just direct you with the basic things. Okay, if you just write CLC, it will clear the screen. You see the academic license, the CLC, it clear all the screen. You have an option of clear all. So let me just see a equals to 1. So a equals to 1 is something, a variable having the value of 1. So you can see over here in workspace that we have a equals to 1. So what if you just write CLC, it will just clear the screen, but the variable is still there. So how you clear this particular variable? You say clear a or clear all. So if you just want to clear entire thing, you just say clear all. But if you want to clear just a variable, then say clear a. So now if I just write clear all, it will clear. Okay, so again I will write CLC. Now if you want that, if you are a teacher and you are teaching somewhere and the font is not visible, what you will do, just go to preferences. In different fonts, you can check any font. You can go for Time New Roman also, but over there I'll just prefer monospace. This font, I'll just increase the font. I'll make it 14 so that it would be quite easy to understand. So I hope that now this font is clear. So the green comments, there are two types of comments. Number one is this one, right? If I just write this thing, it's the MATLAB will read it as a command and it will give error because there is no any kind of command that starts as basic commands, right? So if you want to separate the particular codes with other codes, what you say, you will just type 2% marks. 2% marks will decide the starting boundary, and then if you just write after the code to this thing, so this entire thing, if you just see when I move my cursor from y equals to 1 to this particular 2% marks, the section has a color. So at that moment, the only particular section will be selected, right? So if you see over here, pressing command, and I just press F9. So if I press F9, you can see we have ones. So what ones will do, when ones will only generate a matrices. If you write 4, it will generate 4 by 4 matrices of ones. So if we just write regarding y equals to ones, if you just write 6, then it will generate 6 by 6 matrix, right? So this is the basic command. Now you don't want a matrix, you want a row particularly. You want a row matrix. So what you will do, you just write this particular code, I equals to ones. So if you write this thing, it will generate a single row having 10 columns, but all the members will be 1, like this way, and the entire variables that I am taking like y and I, they are shown over here. Similarly, if you just want to have a zeros, then we have a separate command that is I equals to zeros. So similarly over here, if you just copy this command and run over here, you can see that we have one row, but 10 columns, this particular one row and 10 columns, and you have all the members that are zeros. Similarly, we have another thing that is I. I is a command. Let's suppose I may pick any name. Just pick any name that is Noman. So let me just pick Noman. You can take any variable over here, but make sure that whatever the variable you are taking, that must be the same one, because it's this particular software is a case sensitive. What do you mean by case sensitive? It means that if you are taking capital A as a variable, are different. So make sure that whatever variable you are taking, that must be same. So over here I'll take just Noman equals to I, and I'll take let's suppose 5. So what it that identity matrix must be, you have gone through identity matrix in your mathematics courses. So over here you can see Noman is equals to I of 5, so it will generate 5 by 5 order matrix, and it is identity diagonal. So you can see the principal diagonal will have is having only one, entire diagonal matrix has ones. So moving further, if you just want to just change that, no, I'll just have is opposite to identity matrix, what you will do, you will just put a complement sign in front of this command. So if I just copy this command and run it for you like this way, you see only now the end. If you just see the previous one, all the principal diagonals had 1, but now as I just put this complement mark, it will have the zeros on principal diagonal. So this is how you just complement the commands, right? Similarly, if you just see this particular command, that is rand5, so this is the particular thing that will generate the matrices, 5 by 5 matrices, but this particular thing will be random, which means that every position will have a random numbers. So if you see these particular thing, if you want something like then you just write, okay, Mustafa is equals to random, and you want something like 10, so it will generate the 10 by 10 matrices like this way. In 10 columns over here. So this is how you do the things. Now we are coming towards the trigonometric thing. So how many people of you have have MATLAB with you? Anyone who has just opened the MATLAB software in front of him or in front of her? Anyone?
I have, sir. Sir, I have.
Okay, so Zed, can you just plot the sine wave on your particular laptop, and or can you just see these particular lines from line number 20 to 25 and let me know, or let me understand what do you mean by these lines from 20 to 25?
Sir, should I include the semicolon? As if I include that, the output will be suppressed.
Mr. Ghulam has disconnected. He'll join you shortly after.
Okay, so turned off. I don't know what is the reason. Perhaps it's done. Okay, so now just moving for my presentation. Okay, so I was talking to Zed. Zed, are you there?
Yes, sir.
So I just want you to just go for the code that is basically designed for plotting a sine wave. So can you just help me out in understanding those 20 lines, these 5
Sir,
lines?
sir, I wrote the code, but I was asking if I should add the semicolons after each command, because if I add that, this output will become suppressed.
Yes, in MATLAB we have this thing that if you just put the semicolons, then it will not show you the output. No. So if you can share your screen in the meanwhile, because I want to start from plotting the two-dimensional signals. No, this. So it's very important to study the code.
Okay,
Yes, yes,
so should
you
I
may
share
share
my
your
screen?
screen.
Okay.
Or you can just post the code on chat box. No.
Right. Uh, Kindly acknowledge if my screen is being shared. So is it visible?
Yes, it's visible now.
Uh, is the MATLAB software visible?
Yes, it's visible. Just go in
Uh,
the preferences and increase the font so that all the
right, right,
participants can, you know, see this.
right. Should I make it 30?
Yes, make it 30.
Uh,
Apply and okay.
uh,
Okay, so all the participants, if you can see the line number 8, that is, okay, remove this random 5. Okay, so if you can see this line, these 3 lines are very essential for plotting any signal, whether it's sine wave or cosine, or and end up on 0 1, and middle thing, that is 0.3 zeros and 1. It's something that is, we know in our communication, we say it as a sampling frequency or some. Over here we'll take the sampling frequency more than this thing. So over here, if you can see, we have 100, so we have taken something very large. If you just inverse, can you just inverse this particular thing? 1 upon 0.001, so it will just tell you 10,000 perhaps, something. No, at command window, command and y in this line number 2, that is something 100 hertz, and you are taking the frequency in terms of time, that is 1 upon 10,000, which is equal to 0.3 times 0. If you just not is not likely to be wave or something like that. And after that, you have a command that is plot ty, which is basically thing. In Cartesian, what we have first place for x-axis and second place for y-axis. So on x-axis we have taken time t. So in entire on x-axis you will have 3 into sine 2 pi 100t. We cannot write like a symbol of pi. We write just pi. So it will be treated as a pi, the same pi that we use in mathematics, right? So let me just share you the screen and run this code for you in my MATLAB domain. Thank you, Zed, for sharing this screen. So
should I stop
I hope
sharing
now.
or
Yes.
continue sharing? Should I stop sharing the screen or continue sharing it?
Yes, you can stop. You can stop. So in discussing the things now, rather than just going for just showing you the things, so I'll be just discussing these things with you. It should be noted that MATLAB is somehow a heavy software, so you must have proper RAM for that. Configurations, since my system was turned off, so it's still on initializing mode. If you can see over here, it's initializing, so till it will just say me, okay, run or something like that, start. I cannot do anything. So regarding okay, just for now, and just here, but at this moment I cannot run because it's in initializing mode. Okay, till it completes the initializing, I'll later on discuss some more have in these 3 lines. You can see, if you want to label the entire picture that you are going to have in terms of plotting, If you want to give a title, whether it's a sine wave, it's cosine wave, or it's something else, so what you just write, you write a title, and in that if you write sine wave, let me just change this title and write plain MATLAB. Okay, so if I just copy this code, because there are several things that are in this code, let me just make a new file, and over here if I write like this. Okay, so if I'll run this code multiple times, but before that I'll just write clear all, because whenever I'll repeat it again, all the things will, you know, clear up. So this will give a good sense of learning. So over here, if you can see, I have mentioned the t index, which is start from 0, it will go to 0.01, and then we have a middle point, that is basically the sampling frequency. I'll change this particular middle position, and you will see that the wave shape is quite different as gradually I change this value. For line number 4, I have written 3 into sine 2 pi into 100 into t. This is the signal, right? So if you have AC voltages, in terms of AC voltages, this is the magnitude, and this is the sinusoidal thing that is associated with AC voltages or AC current, right? And then we have plot. It will just put t on x-axis and y on y-axis. So on y-axis we have the signal, right? And after that I have titled it as I'm playing MATLAB. On x-axis I just want time in seconds, let's suppose. Okay, and on y-axis I just want, okay, voltage in millivolt, let's suppose. And if I just run this thing, you will see a sinusoidal signal in some time in front of you, that it will show you a sinusoidal wave. Now, why I started this particular workshop with this code? Because it's very important to learn about plotting things, because whenever you are going for any type of code, you will have some graphs, you will have some sort of data that you need to present in front of others in a graphical way. So if you can see, this is a sine wave, right? And the title is playing MATLAB. On y-axis you have voltage in millivolt, and on x-axis you have time in seconds, right? So this is how you make the things. Now if I just question Noor Hidalina, are you there? Noor, are you there? I'll just, you know, question these participants, so that I may think that the participants are having 3 hours workshop. So I'll just focus on the learning thing now. So we have Noor, we have Hafsa. Anyone from them? Anyone who can just join me in progressing the code? Anyone? Waqas Anwar, are you there? Waqas Anwar? Yes, Waqas Anwar, can you just turn on your mic? Okay, no mic. Okay, we have Sumaya Sattar. Are you there, Sumaya?
Hello.
Islam, who's there?
Sir,
Rayan Ahmed. Yes, Rayan Ahmed, just be with me. If I just want you to just change this code, because if I just run this code, I have only one sine wave, right? We have only one crust and one trough. If I just ask you that I need 3 crust and 3 troughs, what type of change you will do in these particular lines starting from 2 to 8? Any idea?
3 and sampling time. We will decrease sampling time so that waves will be in more
okay, so let me just change it for you. If I just change this thing, I have just removed 1 0, right? Okay, let me just be more generous and eat one more zero and then play this particular code, then you will see a straight line. So there is no, sine wave anymore. Run this code, you will see it's a sine wave, but its shape seems so discretized, you have a discrete type of something like that, not properly a sine wave. So if you just increase this particular zero, you will have the proper sine wave, but still the question remains rough, or 3 cycles of sine wave, what I should do. So for that, I'll just put over here steric 3. So this particular 0.01, what it means, let me just remove this. Start from 0, see, it will end up to 0.01. So if you want 3 more cycles, it will end up to 0.03, right? So if it will end up at 0.03, what you need to do, you need to plot this into 3 times. So regarding that, what we do, we just put steric 3. And when we run it, we'll get 3 sine waves in front of you. I hope you got the idea, Ryan.
Yes, sir, I got it.
Okay. So this is how we. I ask anyone else. Let me just have, ask any more student. We have Miss Hafsa. Miss Hafsa, are you there?
Hello,
Yes,
yes.
Miss Hafsa. Miss Hafsa is there. She is from UTP. I personally know her. Okay, so Miss Hafsa, if I just want this particular thing, if I just run this code, you can see the 3 sine waves over here, right? So now if I just want that whenever I run the code, the user decide that how many cycles I want to plot. So for that, what I will do, you have somehow know-how of MATLAB before?
Very new about the MATLAB. I don't have much knowledge, but maybe we can replace the 3 with any value.
Yes, 3 with n value, but yes, you are right. We over here we replace the 3 with n value, and now what we will do, we will just mention the definition of n, that what is n. So for that, I'll write n equals to, we have a command that is input. So what input do? Input basically will take a runtime input with the user. It will ask the user, okay, you want something to enter, okay, enter that particular thing. So that particular thing, let's suppose if I just write inverted commas, enter the number of cycles, right? Like this way. So if I just run this code, you can see on command window, it will ask you enter the number of cycles. So now you have much more liberty, right? You can write 8, and when you enter it, you will see the 8 cycles of a sine wave. Similarly, if you just again, run it and change the cycles, you say, okay, I need 50 cycles, and when you run it, you will see the 50 cycles of sine wave. See? So this is how you change it. I went for this particular code for 2 reasons. Why? Because many of the people have gone through these type of codes, but they don't understand what is the power of this 4th line, right? So I have named this workshop as a playing MATLAB, which means that you must enjoy this particular workshop by looking over the things that you have never considered before. So line number 4 has a very big power. You can manipulate it and you can change it any way. So you have these types of codes already mentioned in your PPT that have been provided already, the 3 cycles and then user defined cycles. The code is shackled for sine wave or cosine wave. What you have to do is you just change the cosine over here in line number 5. You can change the amplitude also, just make A. enter the amplitude. So what it will do, it will just ask you first, okay, enter the amplitude. Let me just run it for you. It will ask you first the number of cycles. You say, okay, I need 4 cycles. It will say write your amplitude, so you will write 2. So it will show you that particular thing, but for that you must write the function properly. So in MATLAB we don't have cosine, we have cos. So you write cos over here. Okay, so when you write, you ask for cycles, 4 cycles, amplitude 2, and you will see cosine. So what is the difference between cosine and sine? Anyone who can just answer me what is the difference between sine and cosine? Yes, 90 degree, difference. So we have 90 degree difference. If you can see, this is the 90 degree difference. Initially the sine was starting from 0, but now cosine is starting from here, so it has 90 degree difference. So now moving further, if you want 2 signals to be plotted together, you want 2 signals to be plotted together so that you can understand the things. So over here, if you see, you can see what we have done. We have mentioned the t, right? We have mentioned y. This is one signal. But you are mentioning the second thing, which is the same thing, t. So no need to repeat it again. So t axis will remain same. Now we are declaring 2 signals. One is y, which is sine, and then we have a figure option. You can just remove this figure. It doesn't, okay, figure matters here. So line number 5 is figure. It will just pop up a figure in which you will see the separate, figures. So first, before running this code, reach at the particular slide where we are going to discuss the same thing. Okay, so over here, if you just see, this is the code. This is the particular code where we use the subplot thing. Plot, you write 3 things in it. It means that you have 3 arguments in it. One is total number of rows, how many rows you want. The picture you want, how many columns, and on what position you want that particular graph. You want first row, first column, that particular graph. You want first row and third column. And at that position, you want the amplitude of voltage and the plotting of particular graph in particular position. So how you tackle this thing? If I just copy this code and run it for you. Okay, over here, if I just paste it, you can see there are 2 rows. Okay, column is 1. And over there, this is the first position, this is the second position. Okay, so in first position, what it will do, it will plot t versus y, which is t versus y means sine signal. Then it will title it as a sine wave. On x-axis, it will title it as a time, and on y-axis, it will title it as an amplitude. Okay. Similarly, on second position, it will just plot t versus z. So what is z? Z is your cos signal. So if I just run it, you can see 2 signals over here. Right? One is your sine wave. So these are 2 rows like this way. These are the 2 rows. 1 column like this way. This is the first position. This is the second position. So now if I just want sine wave, I want to shuffle the positions of these 2 particular graphs. What I will do, I'll just change up over here. I'll just write 2 over here, 1 over here. Simple as that. So if I just run it, you can see now the sine wave, cos wave or cosine wave. Now this is something where you have 2 rows and 1 column. So anyone who can just help me out that if I have only 1 column and what we say 2 columns and 1 row, can anyone? It means now this is the cosine wave and we will have sine wave here. It means that now both particular graphs will be adjacent to each other rather than this particular display opposite. At this particular figure, both graphs are, parallel or opposite to each other. Now, I want a particular figure in which both graphs are adjacent to each other. So at that moment, what type of change you will do over here? Anyone else who can just guide me in, changing this thing so that we have 2 graphs in cascaded form or in series form or in adjacent form? I have mentioned already the code, that is this one. So over here, if you just see, no, not like this one. Yes, this one. So if I just see this thing and copy it for you, so let me just copy this and make you understand. Okay, so over here, if you see clear all and CLC, it will remain same. T is your time index, so no need to write it again and again, just one time. T is your time index, and with respect to this, you have Y, one signal, you have Z, another signal, and then you have entered a figure. It will pop up a figure for you, and in that figure, you will have the 2 graphs. What type of graphs they will be? You have mentioned the subplot 1. 1 means 1 row. 1 row, 3 means 3 columns, and this is the first position. So on first position, you will see sine wave with X level as a time and Y level as amplitude, right? So just change this thing is to time in seconds. Okay, it will just, get a lot of space. So let me just write as voltage like this way, okay? And the second position, if you can just see, I'm labeling it as a current. So over here, you can see that it's the first row, 3 columns. Now the position is second. Over here, it will plot T versus Z, which is the second signal, right? And just remove this thing because it will increase the ambiguity. So if I just play this thing, you will see that we have this thing. So this particular, it's somehow is skewed. So if you just maximize it, it will settle down. It will settle down, but why it's somehow compressed? Because you have taken what we say 3 column. So it has 3 column. Third column is also there, but it's empty. So rather than taking 3 columns, just take 2 columns. Now it will give you a nice display like this way, sine and cosine. I hope the things are clear. Just give me your feedback on chat box so that I may go a bit of ahead in this particular presentation. You people are getting these things? Any suggestions for me so far? Any suggestions, class? Because now I'm exceeding to more complex codes also. Okay. Now we are moving towards some interesting things. Before that, I just quickly go with these codes. These codes are basic codes. If you just see magic 4, what will do magic? Okay, let me just copy this code for you and see the things. If I just say you, okay, just print what we say. If you just see, I have copied the magic 4 and I just wrote it over here. You can see over here it has generated a 4x4 matrix, right? Now what is magic in it? Because if you just add row wise all the members or column wise all the members or diagonal wise, you will get the answer 34. So this is the magic in that whatever if it's not like that. If you just write magic and write 3, it will generate a 3 by 3 matrix, but the sum in series, in column wise, in row wise, and diagonal wise will remain same. For 4, magic 4, the sum is 34. For magic 3, I have to calculate 8 plus 5 is 13, 13 plus 2 is 15. So magic 3 will have the sum. If you add it in row wise or column wise or diagonal wise, you will have the sum 15. And for 4, you will have the sum row wise, column wise, and diagonal wise 34. So these are the basic commands that we have. Okay. So just moving further, I want to just, okay. So now we have another command, that is line space. Okay. So let me just copy it for you and run it. Okay. So over here, you can see these two graphs. These both graphs are of same color. If you want to change the color of these graphs, how you will change it, I'm going to discuss this in few seconds. Let me just copy the previous code. This is the code of line spacing. So if you are not getting any command, then what it means, MATLAB also help you in that. How? Just write clear all CLC. Now you want any command that you have never used and you want to use it in a very frequent way, you just write help. You will ask help for MATLAB, right? Line space. When you write and enter it, it will tell you the entire documentation of this thing. Okay, line spacing is the command, LIN, not E. Okay, so if you write it, line space. Okay, so if you write it LINSPACE, it will show you the entire documentation, that what type of arguments it will take, like this way. I write help line space. It says it's a linear space vector. It will define you x1 and x2. It will take 2 types of arguments, the starting point and the end point. You can also use line space with 3 arguments, like this way, where n point is number of points that you want in between 2 things. Let's suppose you mentioned line space 1, 2. Now in between 1, 2, how many points you want to plot? You want to plot 1 point, you want to plot 2 points, you want to plot 100 of the points. So you mention that in n. So now coming towards the code that I copied, that is this one. T is equals to line space, starting point is 0, then end point is 0.5, and in between 0 to 0.5 I want to take 100 of the points. And after that we have y equals to this is the signal sign. You can change it cosine or something like that. Then you plot t on x-axis and y it like I'll say day 1. Okay, so this way. Okay, whenever you copy the code from any presentation, make sure the inverted commas would be the same one, because if it is not the same one, the font will be in red color and it's an error basically. So make sure that you are copying the code, but it's not in red color. Something, the font, the commands must not be in red color. So if they are red color in display, it means there's something wrong with that line. So over here, if you just see, I'll run it, so you will get this thing. This is a sine wave, but it's in between 0 to 0.5. So why this particular shape? Because we have taken 100 of the points. So if you just reduce it, if you take just 20 points, and then if you just plot it, you will get somehow this way. Now, what is the problem with line space? Line space does not tackle the sampling frequency. So that's why most of the people avoid line space command, and rather than taking line space, they take t equals to something. Rather than, I'll teach you that how we plot the different lines with different backgrounds. So if I just copy this thing and go into MATLAB, so this is the code for different colors. So this is the starting point. This is the end point. We have taken the values 100. Over here we have a signal that is okay. Let me just label it SIG signal. Okay. So when I just take signal, now I want to plot it. So first I'll plot t comma with SIG, right? But it can take more argument also, and that argument is what type of color you want for that graph. So for that I just wrote B means blue and O means circles. You will have a circle structure of sine wave. So let me just run it for you. You can see this is the cosine signal, but in circular font, or so you can just change. If I just comment it with percentage to this percentage line, now it consider line number 5 rather than line number 6, because run it, you can see you will have a plus B type of thing. Okay. What it shows, it gave me error where variable Z. Okay, so I have changed the variable over here. So over here you can change the variable SIG. So now if I just run it, you can see that we have plus 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 in blue colors, right? Similarly, 5 for that, remove Z, replace Z with SIG, the signal. You will get another font which is in plus sign but in green color. So there are plenty of colors, plenty of things that you can do and explore in this way. Now, what I just want you people is to just go for something that plot two types of things, which are, if I just recall the subplot thing, which was yes, this one. So if I just subplot this one like this way and put it over here, and so over here we have two signals, right? One is sine, another is cosine. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just change the color schemes. I write BO, and over here I just write plus B and just plot it. So you can see, okay, so over here I have not removed this thing. Okay, make it 2 2, and if I just, you can see you have both the things but in different color, right? Different color. A color, what you can what you can write is, over here you just write R perhaps, so it would be in red color. So you can see one is in red color and one is in blue color. You can change plenty of Okay, the screen is visible. I'm really sorry. Actually, the internet over here is somehow weak, and I'm facing these issues. I really apologize. I hope that I'll be available for the second day. If you have, I'll make sure that on the second day we will not have the same type of problems, right? So this particular code over here, we have just mentioned the R naught for sine color and plus B for the cosine signal. So if I just run this code, you can see there are two types of color schemes that are in front of you. So till now, any difficulty, class? Any difficulty so far? Any difficulty, Rayan, Junaid, Mir Farooq? Any difficulty so far?
No, not yet. Everything is clear so far to me.
Okay, okay. So now I'm just going for a further code. If you can just see this particular slide, that is copy this code and let you understand that what I'm going to do in this particular code. Over here we have a fs. Fs is your sampling frequency, right? So sampling frequency, you have a sampling frequency which is 4,400 44,100, right? And you have 16. What I'm going to do, this particular code will take an input, your audio input, right? The audio input and n bits is 16. What type of channels you want? You want two channels. You can select one, you can select three. There are 4 channels in MATLAB that can take your input, audio input, and after that you will set ID equals to -1. -1 means it will select the default audio input. Let's suppose you are talking right now, your audio input might be your microphone. As I'm not using any microphone, so my audio input will be the audio input of the laptop immediately. So it will take the default audio input. After that, it will just recognize that object and will record it. So over here we have a command. This is not a command. You can anything you want. This is the command, that is audio recorder. It will have the following arguments. It will compensate your fs and bits chance play, where you can see that, okay, start speaking. So you will start speaking at that moment, and it will just keep this particular thing record for 5 seconds. You can increase this particular time, you can make it 10 minutes, you can take it, but the minutes must be converted into seconds, and then you put it over here instead of 5. At this moment I just wrote 5, means 5 seconds. After 5 seconds it will just display you the recording, and then it will play the recorded object which is stored in this particular variable, line number 6. And this particular playing object, I have stored it into A later on. Because of one reason, I'll disclose it. So now if I just run this code, it shows me busy. And now if I just start speaking, okay, welcome to this workshop that is named as, okay, so now it's ending of the, so you will listen again your voice. So how many people have tried this code and they are able to listen their own audio on their MATLAB? I'll just wait for a few seconds. If someone has tried this thing and acknowledge me that okay, they have tried this thing, this particular code which is on this particular code, this one, FS, slide number is 16 slide in my presentation. If someone has copied this code and run it on their MATLAB, kindly acknowledge that they have listened their own audio of 5 seconds. Anyone? Hafsa Habib, have you tried this code? Mohammad Raizul, are you there? Okay, just let me play it again. Okay. So if I just play, I'm Ghulam Mustafa Abro, and I'm conducting this workshop. So now you can see, okay, so the audio that has been recorded. Now what I just want you people is a task. So far we have covered the lecture 1, in which we have an introduction of MATLAB software, some basic plotting diagrams. Imaging I have not discussed yet, but I'll discuss it on the second day. How to take an audio input. Correlation means you are checking the audio signal with another audio signal, whether it's similar or not. Okay, so for that I have a task for you to take an audio. So how you are going, it's very simple. If you just go for here, if you just if you have A, you can just plot A comma T, right? So you can have that thing. Let me just recall the code for you, so that you can see the things. So this is the code. This is not available in the PPT, so you can just note it down here. If I just I also put it on chat box, so that you may just copy it from chat box. I have sent the code in chat box. You can just copy the code and play it. It will start the recording. Control A, F9. So now it will start the recording. My name is Mustafa and I'm conducting the playing. Okay, so this is the see. So this is my voice that is being plotted on MATLAB. So you can plot your voice also, and you have stored this particular voice in a variable. Similarly, you can store the voice of any other guy or even yours, audio, and you can just correlate it with a simple command, that is correlation. Okay, so far we have covered this thing. If you can just we can hold here for 10-15 minutes, and I may just inquire about performing the same code or not. So students, are you performing the code, this presentation, this 16 slide number 16? How many people have performed this code on MATLAB? Kindly just acknowledge, or if you have any question, just turn on your camera and ask the question, so that I may answer you for that. Anyone who has any sort of question so far? This particular workshop is basically for you people that you may have any sort of query or something like that. You can ask me. So if you have any sort of query, okay, I'm just receiving some queries that people have not received the PPT, but now I just request the organizers to put the same PPT on WhatsApp group so that everyone can access the PPT. So far we have covered these things. Now we are coming towards lecture number 2, which is regarding the loops. So loops are very essential parts. You cannot deny whether you are working in any sort of language, whether it's Python or something like that. So you cannot avoid loops. Okay. So we also discussed the loops in this thing. If you just hold a second, this is the lecture 2. So if I just run this particular line, that is, if I just copy this code from entire loops, no, like this way, Control C, and this way. So this is the lecture number 2. If I just run this code from line number 4 to 7, what you will see that you have increment in terms of columns, right? You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up to 8. So what it means that you have taken a variable m, which will start from 1 to 8, and then you just put a variable j, and it will have the value again and again till 8th position. So when it will
Sorry,
be 1,
the screen
j
isn't
equals to
visible.
1. Okay, let me just share. Now it's visible?
Yes, sir, it is
Now it's
visible
visible?
now. Yes.
Okay, so now if you can just see this particular line number 4 to 7, if I just run it again, you can see that over here, it has the values that is from 1 to 8 over here. Now what is going on in this particular 3-line code is, I have taken a variable m, it will start from 1 to 8. Now it will start when the position is 1. The 1 value will go into the variable j. So you will see 1. Then again it will go upward and will call the second value, which is 2. So 2 will come down at the second line, and it will again will be stored in j variable. So in this way you can just see the increment up to 8. Now what I'm going to do is, I just want to increase the thing in, I want increment in rows as well as in columns. So for that I have another code that is from line number 8 to 12. So if I just copy it and just run it for you, these are the lines. So over here you can see I have taken the same line. No, not this one. Okay, so I have copied the same code, but over here what I will write just m. Okay, so let me just run it. So you can see, just amending something, you can get a different output like this way. What it means, it will just, if I just define, it will take m from 1 to 8, and on second line when it will be 1, it means that it will have an increment on only 1 row. 1 row means the 1 row with 1 member. Then afterwards it will take 2. It means now 1, 2 on second row. Then again on third position it will just introduce 3, but similarly the third line. So you can see the third line 1, 2 and 3. In this way you will have up to the like a staircase position in till last position, that is 8. So this is the loop. Similarly, if you can see the second code, which is regarding somehow increasing goals, just understanding this code, now we have taken 2 loops this way for m, starting from 1 to 8. This is for rows. So now how many rows will be there? 8 rows. And then in you know, beneath this for loop, we have another for loop. For that, I have taken a variable I. It will start. I mentioned that, okay, j equals to m comma I equals to I. What it means? It means that it will increase in column wise also and row wise also. So if I just run this code, you can see, firstly, if you can see this thing from first part. Okay, so first means, now if I just hold it here, so over here, if you can see the position of j, when it will be 1, you will have 1 I, not m, so it will be just on first row. Then when you have 2, it will just go for second line and you will have 1 2. Similarly, it will just, you know, increase in row wise, and it will just go to certain number of rows and columns. So a final answer, what you will get is, you will get 8 columns. If you can see, 7 columns, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 columns and 8. We use for loops because when we are reading, there's suppose I may just share you the thing. See, this is my image. So in my image, if you can see, this is the black strip. Okay, so if this particular black strip, you want to read few letters from this black strip, what you will do? And that matrix, which have separate matrix values, like somewhere we have another value 253, 256, 278, random values in entire image. So this particular part will have a different type of, after a particular position, you come to know that, okay, this particular position will have separate type of values, and you can then crop it, and then you can manipulate it, and for that you must need the application of loops, right? So that's why they are essential. Okay, so now I'm just moving further for if and else condition, right? So if and else condition, it's quite interesting and a very simple code that I just want to bring it in front of you. If you can see that I have taken a variable that is attendance. I have taken that as 0.5, means 50% attendance. Grade average is attendance. If this condition and this condition both will be known as AND operation, which means that now it will see both conditions. This condition, that attendance must be equal to 60 or equal to or greater than 60. Then and only then it will just make it pass equals to 1 and display that you are passed. As run the code, it says, okay, fail. Why? Because the fitted value is 0.5 and 70, which are not, you are failed. If I just change this value as input, and I say enter, and over here I say input, enter the grade, like this way. So if I just run code, it will ask me the attendance first, requirement on line number 4, but the average grade I'll write like 50. So if both conditions will be agreed, then and only then it will say pass, otherwise it's fail. So if I just enter it, it will say fail. So again, if I just copy and just run it, now the attendance is low, that is 0.60, but the average grade is something that is, very fine, though it's very rare until unless you are Newton. But it means that this particular operator has it makes sure that both conditions must be satisfied, right? So now what is your task? Let me just change this thing in this way, that now I just have a pause over here, and I just want you people this is the assignment for you, that you will tomorrow, when we will have second day, we can discuss this thing. Let me just mention it on chat box so that you may ready it. You have to take 3 subject marks, and total it and design the grading policy as per the attendance and marks. Using if and else. Okay, so this is the assignment for you, that you may do practice, and you can show me tomorrow so that we may just look into it. So now if we are just moving further, we have switch case also. Switch case is very simple to, if I just copy and paste it, you can see this is the switch case. So first of all, I have written that, okay, enter the number. You can enter any number over here. But now what I have mentioned that switch, and this is the syntax. Switch is basically the command. Now I have mentioned the cases. How many cases? Case 1 is -1. So if the entered value is -1, it will display -1. If the entered value is 0, then it will display 0. And if the entered value is 1, then it will show +1. But if the value is something that is not -1, 0 or 1, it will show you. You can see the switch case right like this way. So over here, if you can see, if I just write -1, it will show me the -1. And then if you just, again, if I just copy and run it, if I just write 0, it will show me 0. So if I just copy it and again run it, and I'll make any number which is not included in these cases, then let me just say 6. So it will say other value. You can increase it like this way. If you just want the second thing, you just write like Control-C, Control-V, you just write case 6, and over here you just display Control-C, you write display, and over here you write 6. Now if I just run it, and if I just put 6 value, what it will show? It will show 6. So this is how switch case works, like this way. So you can choose it in this way. You can make a short quiz game or something like that. In region 10 Congress, they put some quizzes, and over there the quizzes were designed and somehow following the same methodology of switch case but the user interface was quite interesting over there. So tomorrow we are going to discuss the user interface, which can be built up using this thing. So far we have covered these topics. One thing, so we can just I will go through this exe file also, but before that I just go with the one more thing, which is functions. So I'll make one function, very simple function, and we'll make exe file also. We will discuss this tomorrow in detail also, but at this moment this is your assignment that you have to do, that take marks of 5 subjects and calculate its percentage. Grades, okay, so grade and 60 to 69 B grade, and else just pass. So this is something that you have to do, and time allowed for this 15 minutes. Actually my laptop was turned off suddenly, so that's why I was quite away from the flow. That's why I cannot give you 15 minutes. What I'll do is I'm just not covering this thing. I'm just making you to learn about the functions, right? So let me just tell you the functions. Okay, for functions, 2 things are very important. Number 1, function cannot be run. It's always recalled or called. Okay, you cannot run function. If you have any function file, you cannot run it. You can always call it. Okay, so similarly, the second thing is, whenever you design any function in MATLAB, do save it with the same name. If you are making a function, you write a function and you say, okay, DSP and something like that. Okay, this is the function. Whenever you write function, you have to mention the and also. So this is the complete definition of a function. What this function will do, this function will clear all the screen. Okay, and it will do what? It will just what we say, what was the first thing? Okay, it will, okay, this is the function, plot ty, yes, copy. Okay, what it will do, it will just clear all the variables, it will clean the screen, it will ask you to enter the number of cycles, enter the number of inputs, and then it will declare these things and will plot a sine or cosine wave for you. This is the function. So when you save it, Control S, I again repeat, it's a very important thing, So if you are going to save it, you save it at a particular place, right? So I choose E drive, and I will not change the name. Why? The name of function is same. If you can see DSP. You cannot make it PSD or any other name. Whatever the name you defined here, that must be the name of your function. That's it. So you save it with DSP, right? So now what I will do, I told you that function will never run. It just called. So I'm just calling the function that is DSP. Okay. If you say that it will run. Class, Asmanur is there. Asmanur, can you help me out in this? Rayan, are you there? Rayan, Hera, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I am recalling that if I write, DSP, which is a function which already I saved, if I just write DSP and brackets and just enter it, it will give me the error, right? Why it will give me error? It will just say that it's undefined function. Why? Because the location of this function is different, that is E drive, and I'm working in C drive. So that's the error. So what I have to do is I'll that is E drive, and I'll select the thing. So over here we have the function somewhere like D. See, this is the function. So whatever the file that has fx, it means it's a function file. It will not be run, it will just call. And the file is .m is the file that is, you can just run it. So now it will run. First of all, it will clear the entire screen. Okay, it will clear all the variables, it will clear the screen, and then it will ask you the number of cycles, the number of amplitude, and will plot it. So let me just do it for you. Display it, clear the screen. Okay, now it's asking me the cycle. So I'm just writing 3 cycles, amplitude 1, and now I have the cycles of cosine sign in front of, or cosine signal in front of me. So this is how we make function. The 3 important things for function is, function cannot be run, it is always recalled, you know, during code. The name must be same during when you are saving up your function. You must comply it with your, you know, the same spelling and same name. You cannot change the name. If you just change the location where your function was saved already, if you change the location, it will not run. So there are 3 things. Now what I'm going to do is, now I'm going to turn the function into exe file. Function into exe file. How I will change it into exe file is just like, I'll write mcc that m and dsp dot m. If I just write this thing, this simple line, this particular simple line mcc dash m dsp dot m, this will completely change this code into exe file. What do you mean by exe file? Now the exe file is something that you can give it to your friend, you can give it to your any colleague that, okay, just enjoy this application, I have designed the application. What it will do, it will just ask you the number of cycles, it will ask you the number of amplitude, and then it will plot you a cosine signal. This is application. So you can just copy and paste it. So now it's busy, it will take some time, and it will, you know, do something, or, you know, generate a MATLAB file over here with the icon of MATLAB. You will not have this same icon, you will not have this same icon, but you will have this icon, this some time. So why I focused on exe file? Because whenever we design any graphical user interface, which we'll design tomorrow, that is already a function. So that particular function can be converted easily using this particular, you know, words, 2 words or 3 words maybe, mcc dash m dsp.m. dsp.m is your file, right? So this is how you convert the exe file. It's taking some time, and after, just when it's ready, I'll just operate it. You can just when it's ready, you can just cut it and give it to your friend which has a laptop, and in his laptop there is no MATLAB installed. You can give it this particular file to him, and you will say, okay, just run it on your laptop. Without installing MATLAB, this particular code will run it in same way. So this is the particular application of exe file, that is, if you are designing any application and you are saying, okay, you can just run it on your laptop without installing the MATLAB software, you can just design the function right like this way, and then you can design a particular application that will just note down the, or calculator. Let's suppose you are designing a calculator, you turn it into a function, you convert it into exe file and give it to anyone else. So whenever a person will click on that MATLAB icon, it will just generate an application environment where you just calculate the things. That's it. So it's taking some time, and maybe, you know, on E drive, if I just see E drive, if I just see over here, if we have DSP, something like that. Okay, so this is the DSP app, right? If I just let you show over here, how many people of you can see this dsp.exe? Anyone who can just turn on the mic and say, yes, we can see this dsp.exe file.
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Okay, so dsp.exe. So now what I do, I just close all the things, right? So I close all the things. I close all the things. I have this particular app. I just cut it from here. I make it here, paste. So this is the DSP app. You can see the icon is different, right? So if I just run it, what will happen? See, a black screen is in front of you. It will take some time. It will ask you the number of cycles in a particular moment. So far it depends on the laptop, you know. If you can see what happened. Undefined variable. Why? Letters. Okay, let's just do it again now. We are done with today's file. I'll do it again. So far, any questions if you have, you can ask while I'm doing the exe file code. You can just turn on your mic one by one and can ask me any of your problems or any of the issues that you are facing, perhaps. Anyone who is facing any problem? .m. Enter. Okay, let me just change the directory, that is desktop, select folder, to anyone who all clear regarding the workshop, regarding the questions? If you have any questions, you can ask. Meanwhile, it's going to execute. So if I just keep my desktop over here, you can see this mat file. Suddenly it will just turn into MATLAB icon, which means that it's ready now. And in meanwhile, if you can just see MATLAB, this desktop folder. Let me just check the desktop. This is desktop, select folder.
I have a question.
Yes, yes.
So far, whatever means you explain, this is obviously clear. In your next lecture, are you going to explain something about optimization or algorithms, ANN? or just you
Regarding
are going to explain the basics?
regarding the second day, we have the content of how to implement the equations, and we will be discussing two models. So number one is prey-predator model, and the second one is COVID-19 model, that how to model the COVID-19 using suspectable, exposed, infected, and recovered people data. So optimization is something that needs somehow more time. So the contents for the second day is not optimization. We are going to implement the equations. We are going to model the system, whether it's prey-predator model or COVID-19 model or any mechanical or electrical system, how you design it in MATLAB. So that's the content. Regarding the optimization, I have not included into these contents at this moment. But obviously we can have a session on that later on, but at this moment this workshop comprises of these contents.
Okay, thank you.
Sir, I also have a question.
So regarding,
Sir, am I audible?
yes.
Sir, I also had a question.
Yes, you may ask.
Sir, I was saying everything that you can do with MATLAB, you can also do with Python. Like excluding the part of Simulink, you can do everything with Python, just as you would with MATLAB. Above all, Python is free and open source. MATLAB is a proprietary programming language. So, why is there any specific reason why would a person choose MATLAB over Python?
Okay, so regarding this, I'm really very straightforward, and I'll not show you or provide you the perks of MATLAB, that MATLAB is superior than Python. Even today, when I'm pursuing my PhD and my area is the stability of drones, so for the stability of drones, I usually operate MATLAB, because when I was pursuing my master's, I had a similar work on MATLAB. So I was quite convenient on MATLAB. Since my final year project is concerned, that was also on MATLAB. But as far as your question is concerned, that Python is somehow free source software and people are using, no doubt. At some moment, I also rethink my decision of choosing MATLAB also, because in Python you have several perks. But regarding the modeling and regarding the other facilities, because Python is I don't know about Python so much, but yes, regarding the Python, you have certain facilities which are based on totally code, not the graphical code, right? But on MATLAB, if you are not so much efficient in coding, you are not convenient with the loops, you are not convenient with the coding, some sort of things, even then you can do many things, many good things, using the Simulink, which is the graphical code part or tool. And regarding the research and where if you ask me about the statistics, then I think that majority, even Hafsa is there. Hafsa is also a PhD student over here in University Technology Petronas. She can correct me that majority of the people are using MATLAB as well as Python. So whatever the convenient source you have, you can use it. Regarding MATLAB, I give, I prefer MATLAB because you can access it like this way, or suppose some of the part you have done in code, right, and some of the part you have done in code, in the graphical code, you can amalgamate, you can merge those two things together. You have that flexibility. But for Python, you don't have that flexibility. You write entire the code into lines, and for that you must be efficient enough that you write the code in a very smart way. But for MATLAB, you can just write some of the part in code and some of the part in Simulink,